Picture yourself at a party. The room is full. There is music, laughter, the clink of glasses. Dozens of people surround you. And yet somewhere behind your ribs, there is a hollow feeling, a quiet, persistent ache that has no name. You are surrounded by humans, and you have never felt more alone. Now picture a forest. No one for miles. Just the wind in the trees and the soft crunch of leaves beneath your feet. Your body relaxes. Your shoulders drop. Something ancient inside you exhales, and the loneliness, somehow, is gone. That is not a coincidence. That is not a personality quirk. That is biology. And once you understand what is actually happening inside your brain during those 2 moments, you will never look at a crowded room the same way again. Your brain was not built for the world you live in. That sounds like a cliché, but the evidence is staggering. For the vast majority of human existence, your ancestors lived in small bands of about 50 to 150 people. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar at the University of Oxford spent decades studying this. He found that the human neocortex, the thinking part of your brain, appears to have evolved specifically to manage relationships within groups of that size. That number, somewhere between 100 and 150 meaningful connections, is now known as Dunbar's number. And here is the thing about modern life. You walk into a room of 300 strangers at a networking event. You scroll past 800 faces on social media. You commute shoulder to shoulder with 1,000 people whose names you will never know. Every single one of those faces triggers a tiny neural response in your brain. A flicker of recognition circuitry trying to categorize, assess, and connect. And your brain cannot do it. Not with all of them. What happens next is something researchers call social exhaustion. But it is not exhaustion in the conventional sense. It is not that you are tired of talking. It is that your threat detection system, the ancient amygdala buried deep in your brain, has scanned the room and found a very specific kind of danger. Too many unknowns, too many faces that register as neither friend nor enemy. Neuroscientist John Cacioppo spent 30 years studying loneliness. What he found was surprising. Loneliness is not just an emotion, it is a biological signal, like hunger, like thirst, like pain. It evolved as a warning system. When your ancestors were separated from the group, they were in mortal danger. The loneliness signal existed to drive you back towards safety. But here is the evolutionary paradox you are living inside right now. Your brain is designed to feel safe among a small, known group. People who have proven themselves over time. People whose faces you can read. People whose intentions your body understands on a level that precedes language. When you are among strangers, even friendly strangers, your nervous system does not fully relax. In the forest, there are no unknown faces. There is no social performance required. There are no subtle hierarchies to decode, no status signals to read, no unspoken expectations to navigate. Your brain, for the first time in hours, can stop scanning for social threats, and it exhales. This is why spending time in nature has been shown to lower cortisol levels. A 2019 study by Mary Carroll Hunter found that just 20 to 30 minutes spent in a natural setting lowered stress significantly. Your body knows the difference between a forest and a crowded room. It has known for hundreds of thousands of years, but there is something deeper going on. Psychologists call it existential isolation. It is not the loneliness of being physically alone. It is the loneliness of being seen but not known, of being present but invisible in the way that actually matters. That feeling sharpens in crowds. In a crowd, you perform. You adjust your posture, your voice, your expressions. You become a social avatar of yourself. And the further that avatar is from your actual inner experience, the more isolated you feel. The gap between who you are inside and who you are presenting widens. And in that gap, loneliness grows. In the forest, there is no performance, no gap. The trees do not need anything from you. You can exist without editing yourself. And there is something profoundly relieving about being in a space that makes no social demands. Now, here is the twist you were not expecting. The problem is not that modern life gives you too much social contact. The problem is that it gives you too much contact of the wrong kind. Shallow contact, anonymous contact, contact without real depth or continuity. A 2021 study drawing on data from more than 3 million people found that social isolation and loneliness increased the risk of premature death significantly, not because people were spending time alone, but because they lacked close, meaningful connection. Your brain does not register 500 social media followers as a community. It registers them the same way it registers strangers at a party, faces without context, signals without trust. And without trust, the loneliness signal never fully switches off. There is a phenomenon called the bystander effect. The more people who are present in a crisis, the less likely any one individual is to act. Responsibility diffuses across the crowd until it effectively disappears. Something similar happens to connection in large groups. The more people present, the less any individual feels responsible for actually connecting. You wait for connection to find you, and it never does. But here is what you can change. Your brain's loneliness signal is not a flaw. It is a compass. It is pointing you towards something real, not toward more contact, toward deeper contact, toward the small, consistent, known relationships that your nervous system was built for. The hunter-gatherers, who were your ancestors, sat around fires in groups of 50. They knew every face. They tracked every relationship. They celebrated and grieved together. Their brains were not flooded with strangers. They were saturated with known people, imperfect and close and real. You carry that same brain. You carry that same need. And every time you walk into a party full of strangers and feel that hollow ache, you are not being antisocial. You are ancient. You are carrying a brain built for a different social world. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is scanning for your people, and it cannot find them there. The forest does not feel lonely, because the forest makes no promises it cannot keep. It does not offer connection and then withhold it. It simply is, and in the presence of something that simply is, something in you can simply be too. Tonight, at the next crowded event, you might feel that hollow thing again, that strange ache in a room full of people, and when you do, you will know what it is. Not a failure, not a flaw, a signal, an ancient, accurate biological signal telling you the same thing it has always told your species. What you are looking for is not more people. It is the right people. And the right people, when you find them, will feel nothing like a crowd. They will feel like home.